Fuse Desk on board. How you doing, Jeremy?
Good morning. I'm psyched to be here, Sean. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, great. So actually, you were at our event. You're one of our sponsors. Thank you so much for sponsoring our event. That was really, I'm just really honored and privileged to have such great sponsors and with such great technology. And one of the things is, I think you have a WordPress plugin that you
We've got
wrote,
a handful of them. Yeah.
and I actually automated Infusionsoft custom fields
Yes.
with that.
Excellent. Well
And
done.
and no one else is doing that. I
Well,
made a
it's funny.
video.
It's like, years ago, there was a need in the Keep community or Infusionsoft community at the time to, like take things out of just going through a form. And so we wanted to have things like personalized thank you pages. So it'd say like, thank you, Sean, for registering for this event.
Right.
And there's just no good way to do it. So I just wrote a free plugin that I started using on different client projects. And next thing I know, like the Keep community found it and was using it, and everyone's talking about it. And so it's out there, it just works, and it's really powerful.
Is that the UTM one?
Yeah, that's the URL params. Yeah.
Yeah, URL params. I remember because what I did is like, well, if someone clicks on a Facebook ad to buy a pair of shoes and they don't buy the pair of shoes, I know that they're looking for a pair of shoes. So of course I could follow up with it because
Yeah.
that's easy. But then I could say, but do you want to buy a pair of socks?
Right.
Because it was because they clicked. I don't even know if they had to opt in. It was all UTM. It was really super cool. I made like an hour video on it. But anyhow, that's really cool. But Fuse Desk is even better. And we use this. It's how old is it now? It's over a decade.
Yeah, we were one of the first third-party add-ons featured in the Infusionsoft marketplace.
Yeah.
One of the very first ones they ever featured. And really, Fuse Desk was created to fill a gap in the marketplace from a business that I had. Back when I had first met Clayton Brad forever ago, we were at actually a GKIC event.
Okay.
And they were speaking, and I was walking down the hall talking to them about this cool new platform they were building. And at the time, I had another business that we built from scratch our entire e-commerce, marketing, nurture, subscription, everything, like hand coded from scratch, our own system. And I heard what they were doing with Infusionsoft. I'm like, oh man, next business I launch, forget doing all this stuff in house. We're just going to launch using a platform like Infusionsoft.
Okay.
And I followed through on that commitment. So we launched the business, and we used Infusionsoft from the get-go. And like immediately at the gate, we were like, well, we want to do something different in the info space, which is like take care of and care about our customers and support them, not just sell and move on. Which strangely was a different concept at the time.
Right.
So anyways, we launched our new product on the Infusionsoft platform, and we're looking for a way to support our new customers, take care of our prospects, and really nurture those relationships longer term. And there just wasn't like a good help desk or messaging system out there. And after doing our research, we tried over a dozen different platforms, and either like it didn't integrate or connect into Infusionsoft, or it kind of did, but was a really not a great platform. It was always like missing one piece.
Yeah. Clunky.
Yeah. So I had one of those moments where I'm like, well, like there's a gap in the marketplace for something I need. I've always been a big believer in, surrounding yourself with the right people. And I was in this really high-end, wonderful mastermind group. And, I went to the group and said, like, look, there's not really a great help desk and messaging platform solution out there that integrates to Keep, that does what we want, and so on. I'm thinking I might build one and have a business around that to support the need we have. And everyone told me, like, Jeremy, that is a terrible idea. You don't want to do that. That's not a good business. But like, if you do, can I get access to that? So, I'm hearing like these two different things, both it's not a great idea and also I'm a perfect customer.
Yeah, there is no need, but I need it.
Right? Now, to be fair, this
Right.
at the time Infusionsoft, I think like the total addressable marketplace was like 4,000 businesses. Right? So yes, from a scalability standpoint, we're very limited to be only tied into the Keep community. But excuse me, that's okay. We still launched. Those customers are all still with us. Many have become partners over the years, and we've grown not just within the Keep community, but also beyond, within the Active Campaign community, Entreport, and even just, standalone businesses too.
All right,
To really
great.
have a true multi-platform help desk and messaging platform deeply integrated to the CRM more than any other platform out there can do.
So for all the people listening right now, you don't necessarily even need a third party. You can do everything just with FuseDesk itself.
Correct. Yeah,
Right.
when we looked at our business, and one of the things I recommend you do in your own businesses is, when you do have customers churn or cancel, is find out why. So the way we do that from an implementation standpoint is on the subscription record in our Keep application for all of our customers, we have a custom field for cancellation reason. It's just a drop down, and notes for any additional cancellation notes there. So we can actually run reporting and look at, like, why did we lose a customer? And you know that what the number one biggest reason is that we would lose a customer?
No, what is that?
They were leaving Infusionsoft. And so
Oh,
they'd say, like, hey, we love FuseDesk. We want to stay with you guys. But, like, if I have to have Infusionsoft, some businesses just outgrew Infusionsoft. Some were
yeah.
just changing platforms. But whatever it was, we were losing them because they were leaving Infusionsoft. And
Yeah,
so,
and if you think about it, if they're growing beyond, and Infusionsoft is a great product,
yeah,
but it is limited. It's for small business, and they know that, and it always has been. But once you start getting into like the million contacts, 2 to 3 million contacts, then you just outgrow it,
yeah.
right? But you don't really outgrow FuseDesk.
Exactly. And so when we looked at what can we do from a churn standpoint, we're like, well, by far and large, the largest category is they're leaving and they're changing their CRM. So what if we step back and allow FuseDesk to work without your CRM? And so one of the things years ago that we built in was the ability that you can have your contact records also in FuseDesk. So when you disconnect your CRM, you still have a functioning help desk and messaging platform, that you just can't do CRM automations, but you can still have all your emails, your live chats, your SMS, your messaging, all those things still work great without the CRM. And then the next step, evolution wise, from there was to allow you to connect into different CRMs. And so that same deep CRM connectivity that we started with Keep, we now have cross platform as well. And so as customers do change CRMs, they just disconnect Keep and reconnect new CRM. And they can still run all their CRM automations, pull in CRM contacts, view all their e-commerce data, and so much more, right within the same platform their team knows inside of FuseDesk.
Right now, is there a migration issue? Like, is there a curve that they have to go through when they migrate or updates?
Yeah, really good question. No, it's as simple as like disconnecting one platform and connecting the next. FuseDesk under the hood does some beautiful magic with finding and deduping and linking up the right contacts. So when you disconnect from one CRM, we just remove the contact ID link and all the CRM specific ID numbers. And then when you reconnect a new CRM, when you load a contact, we find that right contact and pair it back up again each time that we don't have that ID number. And if it's not in your new CRM, then we will create that contact for you in your CRM.
Okay. I remember that one of the things that I used it for the most was I don't know why people do this, and I just had this event that you know about, Automated Marketing Summit, which we would love to have you as a keynote coming up here. Um, but I remember sending people, here, click this link to learn more, and they're like, well, what time is it? And I'm like, okay, well, it's August 11th from 10 to 12. Okay, so I'm like, did you click the link? If you click the link, like that, people
Yeah.
won't. So one of the things before all this funnel silliness that we're going through, and it's not silliness, but it's got, like, now we have bro scaling. Hey bro, you want to scale your business? But the thing is that I remember people would send all these emails, and I could just go tick, 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 boom, and blast all of the customer support people that asked the very same question, and it would save literally an hour of our business's time,
Yeah.
because boom, you just reply to everyone. So that was a huge benefit for us. What are some other benefits that come with it?
Well, so the functionality you're sharing about there is our bulk reply.
Right.
We had a situation with remember those other businesses I was sharing about that were in the mastermind I was in. One of them, they were doing a product launch, and they were doing a Jeff Walker product launch style launch.
Yeah, PLF.
Right. So they were pumping their list. They were getting everyone all hyped and excited, and it was like, Thursday at noon, the gates open, right? And they got everyone all ready, credit cards in hand to go, and they sent that doors open email so everyone could go buy. Now, this was a number of years ago, and they sent everyone to a video sales letter on their page, but they were hosting their own video on their own servers. They were not using like a third-party video platform.
Huh.
And so you know exactly where this is going, what happened with those video servers. Like their web servers and video servers, which I think were one and the same, like just crashed and burned.
Oh, yeah.
And so suddenly they got one email that came back into their Fuse desk. Someone's like, hey, like I got my credit card in hand. I'm ready to buy, but like it says server not found. And then another email and another and another. And they had customers. And these are just the ones replying back. You know that like for every person that reaches out and tells you something, there's like 11 to 23 more that just don't tell you that are having the same problem. Right. So they ended up with over 300, and there's like 300 and some team number emails that came in about the exact same issue in their Fuse desk app. I want to buy, but I can't. Right. By the time they got their servers up and got this thing figured out. So their support team that was just there to help handle new customer support stuff was not prepared for this volume of requests coming in such a short period. So using Fuse desk, they're able to do just what you said there, Sean. They just clicked the box, tick, 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 tick down the list of the things about the same issue, then clicked bulk reply, and they were able to write out like, I'm so sorry you couldn't access that page. Here's the correct link. Here's a promo code to, get a free gift or something like that as our apology, and, what else to do and so on. Click that, and boom, all those emails and cases were done. Then they could get back to the more unique one-off issues and needs that came up, which they were, staffed and ready to handle. So that bulk reply functionality in Fuse desk is huge for launches. If you're doing any kind of outbound email broadcasts, you are going to get replies back. And this enables your team to handle with personalization responses at scale.
Yeah, that makes me really sad because we had that same scenario. We had Fuse desk. We did a launch. We would have made over $100,000 that day, and we only made 20,000. People couldn't get into the membership site. It was like, for some reason, well, not for some reason, it's because I wasn't a part of, and boy, was that a rap battle. But when they signed in, it took them back to the membership page. It didn't take them inside.
Yeah.
And so then it was just all chat, chat, chat. Here's the link. Individual people are disappearing. And, we could have made at least another 10, 20, 30 grand that day had we had thought. We had Fuse desk. We just weren't thinking. Well, you go in panic mode. So it's not like what
you go into firefight mode.
But that's great information for the people now,
right?
To know why they need to get this product now. It's at fusedesk.com, right?
Fusedesk.com, exactly.
And
now,
that's
one thing that fusedesk.com. So one thing, Sean, that I think is really interesting in all this is if you hear most people out there talking, I'm sure many of your guests as well, we're always talking about automating, right? Automating your marketing, automating your outbound, how to do bulk SMS, bulk emails, how to personalize your outbound, how to do robocalls. All this stuff is outbound. But what no one ever talks about is what happens when it actually works, right? And someone raises their hand and they say, yeah, I'm interested. I want to buy. I have a question. And they respond to your SMS. They click reply to the email. They click reply to any of the ways that you're reaching out to them, right? Once that happens, the question I always ask is, where does that go and who's actually taking care of that for you? Right. Because no one wants to talk about it. We just talk about how to get it out there, but not what happens when someone actually gets back to you. We want to live in this automated world.
I'm the worst at this. I'm literally like I'm like, oh, well, because I have 7 phone numbers.
Yeah.
So I would go ahead. So this is good.
Yeah.
This will
one of two things happens, right? One is it ends up like coming from like the business owner, right? Especially like by default in Keep, you can only email from a user login, which means it's probably like your personal email as the business owner, right? It's only if you're using the older email builders can you choose what address to send from, like your support at, your info at address, etc. right? So either it's being sent from the business owner, so the replies go back directly to you as the business owner. And I know, Sean, like with you, when I get your emails, I reply back like it's going to you, which like that's not what you want to deal with. You want that freedom from your business as well. But
Right.
instead, you're tying a chain around yourself here that you've got to be there to respond to all the emails that go out. So that's one option. The other is it goes from like a no reply address, which is like the worst thing. We've all received this as consumers, right? You get a no reply email, you have a question, you want to respond back, and you're like, this isn't going to go anywhere. It goes to a
Oh yeah, I buy Metallica tickets from Ticketmaster for $250, $300 each.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no reply. Yeah, thanks for your money. Don't
Right.
talk to us.
Well, I mean, you've gotten an invoice or a receipt from like an e-commerce company, and you're like,
Oh
I have a
yeah,
question about this. So there's an issue. You go to reply, you can't even respond to the receipt, right? Like
right,
it's mind-boggling.
right.
The number of things that companies have done to separate themselves from their customers and put in layers and barriers, right? You think about when you call into a phone system, all the hoops you got to jump through, right? Just to get to a person, like, I just want to talk to someone and get my issue resolved, right? When we have that empathetic approach for what our prospects and customers are going through, then you realize, wait, what they want is to be heard and to be helped. So my question to you is, how do you get yourself closer to where your prospects are to convert them and closer to where your customers are for that relationship?
I have a great answer for that. I use FuseDesk.
Yes, exactly. So FuseDesk helps you and your team meet your prospects and customers where they are, right? So if they're on your website, if they're on your sales page or opt-in page, why wouldn't you want to have a live chat there? So if there's a question, they can click and open and ask your team a live chat right in FuseDesk, right? Even better, with FuseDesk automations, you can configure your chat widget to do different things on different pages. So for example, if somebody is on your plans and pricing page, they've visited 3 pages on your site and it's been more than 30 seconds. I'm making this up here, right?
No, I get it.
Why not automatically open the chat widget and say, hey, Sean here, can I answer any questions for you about our plans and pricing? It's the equivalent of having an automated person there to reach out to someone in your store and start that conversation.
Right. So if I go into Banana Republic, I don't even know if they're in business anymore, but they used to have a great process.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of Boolean logic. Right when you walked in, they would say, hello, welcome to Banana Republic. Have you ever been here before? If you said yes, one thing, if no. So if I go in there and I'm like, where's the women's sections? Where are the blouses, let's say, and then where are the patterns? Then they'd go, oh, by the way, which brand are you looking for?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking for Sergio Valente or what?
Right.
I don't buy women's clothes,
But
but
you sound
anyhow.
good. I'm convinced.
So it's something to that effect. It's based on their behavior once they're
Right.
on your site.
Yeah. So what's great about this, so FuseDesk, like I mentioned, deeply integrates to your CRM. We love our deep integrations. So for example, if you're using a Memberium membership site, right, or really any of the membership site platforms out there, when someone goes to open that chat or you automatically open it, we'll know who they are. And so your support team can know, oh, hey, this is Sean. He's a silver member with us, and he's logged in and on the VIP support page, right? So right off the bat, they're not going and like looking you up. It's the chat widget isn't asking you what's your name, what's your email, what's your problem, this and that. It's just greeting you right there with that true personalized approach. What a great way to take care of your customers, your members, and subscribers with a personalized pre-filled out chat for them. They can just ask the question and get the answers they need.
Now I have a real out of this world question
What do you
here,
got?
which is kind of a futuristic question, but is AI integrated in this, or do you plan on integrating it into that?
What an awesome question. So, we were one of the early adopters to helping, what you call in the industry like deflection, right? Which is helping a customer get the answer they need before it gets to your team. Now, our rub on it was a little different. We never wanted to get in the way of a customer getting the answers they need. So, our approach has always been, one of the things we talk about is keeping it human. So we allow your support team to leverage technology, FuseDesk, to empower them to take great care of your prospects and customers, right? So for example, let's look at email templates. One of the earliest things we had for the start. When somebody emails in, your team can choose the right template to get back to a customer, right? But that doesn't mean it's just some automated email that's like, dear client, here's a million things to do. it's still personalized. Hi, comma, first name, right? Just like all the templates and email broadcasts, for example, we're used to using.
Yeah.
But we pull in merge field data from your CRM as well, right? So for example, you run a membership site. One of the most common issues you'll have is login issues. New members are like, hey, what's my password? Existing members are like, hey, I can't log in. We can pull that info down from the CRM, merge that into the email template. So now, for example, let's say you have a customer who says, oh, just got back from my vacation. I'm so excited to get started, on my class that I just signed up for with you. How do I get logged in? Your team is able to use the template, magically pull all that data in for here's your login information, or even a one-click login, like with Memberium, you can auto log someone in, right? So your team pulls that template up, but you can personalize it, right? So it's hi, comma, first name, and now your rep writes, hope you had a wonderful vacation. Welcome back. We're so excited for you to get started with us. And the rest of the template's there. So
which is all the difference in the world, because people remember that. They remember, they love when you're like, when I say, my daughter Emily, which I don't have a daughter, but if I did, her name would be Emily. My daughter Emily, she's going to soccer practice, but she loves karate. And then they're like, oh, and then they can talk about karate.
Yeah.
It's not some robot going
right.
soccer, soccer, soccer.
Right. Exactly. So email templates is a great example of where you're able to leverage the technology while still keeping it human. We also have what we call snippets. Snippets are what you can use not just in your email replies or your internal notes, but also in your live chat. So when you're chatting with someone, it allows you to, spit out those frequently used pieces of information, whether it's a URL or a call to action or an offer or a welcome or anything. That's all accessible with all that merge field data pulling in, right? So you do an SMS reminder about an appointment coming up. That's an outbound, but no one ever talks about what happens when someone responds to that text saying, oh my gosh, our 2:00 call, I won't be able to make that, right? Well, now your team can have a snippet ready to go. That's like, oh, I'm so sorry you can't make our appointment time, appointment, and that's pre-filled in, ready to go. Mm-hmm. And then has a link to reschedule or whatever else needs to get done, right? So that's one way. We were talking about deflection. When someone goes to create a new support case, open a ticket, send us a message, contact form, whatever you want to call it to them, but internally to FuseDesk, it's a support case. As they're typing that question out, you can have those suggested solutions coming up. Now, we don't block them from opening the request. We let them keep typing, but as they're typing, we're bringing up suggested posts. So for example, you mentioned Tyler earlier. When Tyler was running SuccessCon, FuseDesk was behind the scenes powering all the support for them and the team. So we looked at, and look, our team knows we've done a lot of event support. We know what the most frequently asked questions are that'll come up. So one of them was, questions around travel, right? Is there a room block? What airport should I fly in from? Is there an airport shuttle? What time does the event start? Are there things going on the night before? So we had all these frequently asked questions ready to go as their own individual post. By the way, these are all SEO optimized posts. So if people go and Google for these answers, they're going to find it as well. But then when someone's typing in the question into the contact box, we can auto suggest are you looking for what airport should I fly into? Oh, are you looking for what's the schedule of events? And just like you were sharing earlier, Sean, no matter how many times you share information, people are still going to ask it because they're not going to. So if you can, at the point of asking the question, automatically share what you think might be an answer for them, that can deflect and get them the answer they need before they ask your team about it. But we still never block them from getting to your team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, with that, and now this is the chat. How long have you had this?
So the chat we rolled out, I want to say 4-ish to 5 years ago now. Okay. Initially it was live chat, but when we built our chat solution from the get-go, it was a built as generic chat on the back end, with live chat as sort of the first kind of chat we support. But quickly thereafter, we rolled out Facebook Messenger chat, WhatsApp, Instagram DM, right? So now you've got a customer who slides into your DMs, or a prospect who's got a question from the Instagram marketing you're doing. Your team can respond to that right inside of FuseDesk. And this is beautiful because all the marketing that you and your team are doing, right, is going to generate interest. And the natural thing is someone messages you on Facebook Messenger. right? Or they reach out to you on Instagram, or they reply to your text message, right? And now all of that can come right in to FuseDesk, and to you and your support team, it looks like a chat, right?
Yeah.
It all looks the same. You can block people, you can respond with snippets, you can link them to a CRM record. The chat is saved back into CRM. It's all the same unified style chat to your rep, even though it's going back out to whatever platform that customer's on.
And here's the thing, and I hope I'm not the only one on the planet that does this, but and I get this question all the time. Hey, did you get my text? And I'm like, oh yeah, I probably did. But now one of the
On
things
one of your
is,
burner phones, Sean.
well, yeah, exactly, because I'm a drug dealer. But the thing is, well, I have multiple phones, mobile phones. So I'm like, well, which phone did you text? Did you text my Fix Your Funnel? You know, and then the thing is that I had an issue one time in the signature of one of my emails. I had a different phone number that I didn't think about. So I'm losing business because people are responding to that.
Yeah.
And if it was in FuseDesk, you know, it would be known, oh, this is happening. So
Yeah.
can you have multiple okay.
Yeah. So in FuseDesk, we have what we call departments, right? And you can use departments for a few things. Departments can be like a logical organization in your business, like sales, support, and so on. It could also be brand based, where you have, you know, brand A, brand B, brand C, much like you're talking about, you've got shown, right? And so then so those are your departments, how you organize stuff. Then your different platforms, we support unlimited inbound and outbound email addresses. So you can have stuff at abcwidgets.com, at abcmastermind.net, at, you know, abcevents.org, whatever. That can all feed into FuseDesk. You can also have dozens of phone numbers coming into and out of FuseDesk, multiple Facebook Messenger brands and pages. So all this can connect in, and we tie that together. So let's say you're looking at one of your event-related brand emails, and you want to call the customer. In FuseDesk, you click the phone number, and we just outbound dial for you. And we know what phone number that should come from based on what department you're in.
Okay, wait a minute. Say that again. What happens with the outbound dialing? How does that work?
Based on what department that case is in, we know what phone number you should be using for that. And so we set your outbound caller ID. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Okay. We're not just setting a caller ID. You're able to use some of the really advanced, more modern things that we have now for outbound calls and SMS. You can actually have that be a branded, CNAMED setup number. So someone sees on their phone, even though they don't know who you are, the name of your business on the caller ID. You can have your logo on there, right? You can follow up with a text message, and it's now branded and tied to you as an authenticated. If you look at the shake and stir technology, we can get into all the nerdy stuff of it, right? But it can come through as not just some scammy random number, but as tied to your business. And like, oh my gosh, I just bought from your company name here, who they've never had a relationship with, and now they're getting a welcome call from you. And here's the thing: we've all seen outbound dialers, great, but this, you know, FuseDesk has an outbound dialer built in. So your client support team makes an outbound call to your customer. Well, now what happens when that customer calls back? In FuseDesk, you can configure each of your phone numbers for what happens when someone calls in. What audio file do you want to play to greet the caller, or what text do you want to read with what accent, and so on. So we have a customer. They have they primarily operate in 3 different continents, right? So when someone calls their Australian support number, they're able to get an Australian voice profile greeting them, thanking them for calling, and asking, do you want sales? Do you want support? You know, so on, right? When someone calls the UK number or the US number, they're able to get the right accent, the right terminology to greet the caller. We're transferring your call to one of our representatives versus agents, and so on. And that live rings inside of FuseDesk. So your support team on the computer clicks a button, can answer that call. We caller ID look up in your CRM who that customer is, so we show you their profile. You take down your notes, you can use your templates, you can respond by email, message them back, and so on. All branded to the right department for wherever that customer is calling in from or to.
Right. One of the things that I think people didn't really get clear on what you said, and what I think is we have this big issue with spam calls now.
Yeah.
So when you get a phone number, especially from me, because one of my phone numbers is, well, I have 2. One is Los Angeles and one is San Diego, 310 and 619. And well, I have 2 San Diego. It doesn't matter. This isn't about me. But the point is that when people see a 310, they're like spam.
Yeah.
Just in their head, they're just like, and so the thing is, you're saying that you can actually, in the text, you could brand your logo in there. So this actually, you get better conversions because the person goes in their brain, oh yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that. I need to respond to this, right?
Well, so there's like 4 different, ways of doing authentication and branding, all this different stuff, right? So we won't get too deep into the weeds on it, but like at the simplest level, you remember that in the days of landlines, you'd have a name on the account, and when we came out with caller ID, you can see, oh, what name is on the billing account for a phone number. That was great for like individuals, but for companies, that never really came around. And then we got into the whole mobile space, and like there was no names attached to it. It was a whole mess. So the industry has come around to allowing us to register a brand name to a phone number. So when someone sees a phone number coming in, it pre-fills in what that name is. So now when someone sees a call coming in, they see your company name on there. And then it is also possible to register a brand logo as well for supported platforms. So when that comes in the future, that comes through. But there's also a way to have reputations for your phone numbers. So now you can have a good reputation and authenticate that call in terms of saying this number is coming from a real registered business and so on. So you know how carriers have like the suspected spam for certain phone numbers? This allows you to clear that and say, no, this is actually an authenticated call coming from a known business.
Okay.
And that allows you to get a much better throughput on your outbound calls as well as your outbound SMS. So keep in mind, FuseDesk isn't just used for help desk and customer support. We are a messaging platform. We have sales teams that use FuseDesk to take care of their inbound and outbound sales.
Yeah.
Right. We have many customers that use FuseDesk to take care of prospects who are looking to do business with your brand, and they can start the live chat or SMS or WhatsApp when they simply have a question for your business.
So I can make outbound calls?
Yeah. So FuseDesk supports both inbound and outbound phone calls. Yeah.
And I can send a text?
You can. Yeah. We have a true multi-platform approach.
Can I send a text? Can I be on a call to one contact and send a text to another contact saying, hey, I'm going to call you in about 5 minutes?
You sure can. Yeah. So here's a use case you can probably relate to, Sean. You're on the phone call with one customer, right?
Yeah.
You see a call comes in, it goes to voicemail. In FuseDesk, we transcribe that for you. So you see, hey, you got a voicemail from, and we do your CRM lookup so we know who the customer is. We have a transcript of that call. You see that you're on one call, but you're looking at a different case. You click to send a message. You send an outbound SMS message to that customer saying, hey, sorry, I'm running a few minutes late for our call. I'll call you back. And you then go back to the case for the customer who you're on the call with.
Yeah, that is really super cool, because one of the things is with that is that when someone calls, they might be, well, I'm going to go buy some milk before I get yelled at, right? And then if you respond, hey, I'm on another call, I'll call you in a few minutes, then they'll be able to go, okay, well, I'm not going to go get the milk now because I really need to talk to this guy, right? Yeah. Or girl, whatever. I don't mean to gender it. Boy, am I freaking anyhow. I'm not going to get
example. I got you.
I'm not going to go down that road. But the other thing is, texting them in advance. Now, when the phone rings, they know it's me, because a lot of times I say, I'm going to be texting. This is shown. I'm going to be texting you from this phone number. Just realize it's me when I come, and I have that already in there, so I can send it and just click, 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 and go. And for all the nerds out there, it's all like, people that are listening to this are super nerdy, right? Yeah. So they know what I'm
talking about. So if we're going to get nerdy on this, we found from a conversion standpoint, as soon as you go multi-platform, conversions go up dramatically. So a common use case is a prospect or someone emails you, you email back, and then just ghost you. You don't hear back again, right? So you follow up by email, you email again. Our support team, by the way, is great about this. Like, we follow through until we get confirmation, like, yes, I'm all set. Right. But think about it from a sales standpoint. You have a prospect who's interested. They get back to you and you get back to them, and then you just don't hear back again. As soon as you change the platform and you send that text message or you make that outbound phone call, that's when things perk up and you say, hey, want to make sure you got my email. Right? You and I had this, right? We were emailing. I didn't hear back, so I messaged you.
I don't. Yeah.
But it worked, right? We're able to pick up the conversation and go back to the primary platform. So if you think about from a prospect standpoint, they send you an email and you're now able to call them. And this is all on the same case, right? So you see they emailed you, you emailed them, you called them. All of that is syncing live over to your CRM. So anybody else who's looking at their contact record in your CRM sees inside of Keep, oh my gosh, well, here's an email, then there's a phone call, there's a text message, and so on. And as a manager, you can see a live stream of all the activity of your team of what's going on. So you can see across your team of 20 sales reps, right? Or your 30 support agents, all the conversations and things that are happening. Yeah. Which from a training standpoint lets you jump in and course correct quickly, not a month later or a quarterly review, but live as it's happening to help coach and support your team.
So, and it's those multiple channels are really important. It's a lot of people will, I mean, I don't want to belittle anyone, but my funniest thing is, when you call someone and you say, you wouldn't want to buy this, would you? And they're like, no, I wouldn't want to buy this. Right. So you got to train them on like just how to script it right. But also it's like, did you text them? Did you IM them? Did you slide into their DMs? Like there's so many ways that you need to reach people. And then what I really liked what you said is that your support people reach out until they actually connect.
Yeah. Because in fact, so FuseDesk has a built-in feedback and rating system. So you can configure FuseDesk on a department by department basis. To reply on back to someone, you can say, hey, in my support department, one day after a case is resolved, send this email out to get feedback. In my sales department, don't send it out, right? And so on. So anyways, we send an email out. That's your template, how you want it. And you can click 1 to 5 stars. And as soon as you do, you have the chance to leave like open-ended form feedback. So you can look at your metrics and say, hey, how well is my support team doing? Which one of my reps is doing better than the other ones? Who's getting the best feedback? And so on. And you can, for example, link this up to your Slack team. So we have in our Slack a channel called Kudos. So anytime feedback comes in, boom, that live post to our Slack team. So we can see, Sean just rated this case 5 stars. And then a moment later, Sean just left feedback for this case that, Susie was handling. And he shared the feedback. So just, we dog food all of our own stuff. As we use this, the number one feedback that we see in sort of the free form text is, wow, FuseDesk has the best follow-up. So-and-so on the FuseDesk team really made sure that was taken care of, because we follow up to make sure that you think the issue has been taken care of as a customer. Not just that we responded, but that we resolved it to your satisfaction. Because here's a big question for you. When is a support ticket or case resolved? Is it when the agent takes action, like responds back? It's not. It's when the customer feels it's resolved to their satisfaction.
Right.
So in FuseDesk, we have a case can have a new status, meaning it's waiting on your team. It can have a closed status, meaning it's resolved to the customer satisfaction. But it can also have an open and a snoozed status as well. So open means it's not resolved, but it's blocking on the customer. So the example I love to use in this is, let's say a customer reaches out to you and says, hey, I never got the box of stuff I ordered from you. So your team responds back and says, oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Here's the tracking number we show. We show it as delivered yesterday, left at the front door. Here's the address it was sent to. Is there a different address we should have mailed to? Did you find a package, and so on?
And now, by the way, that's all custom fields.
Custom fields, exactly. Now,
most people know that, but we got to remind the people that don't know.
Yeah, this is all merge field stuff pulling in, right? So most support reps will be like, hey, I did my job. I got back to the customer. We delivered it. We good, right? Well, no. Until your customer actually gets that box and says, like, I got it. It's amazing. Thank you. It's not resolved. Right. But there's nothing more for you to do. So you can move that to an open status. Now, if it's been a day, you haven't heard back, maybe you call the customer, maybe you email them again, right? But until you get that box to that customer or confirm they've received it or fix the address or so on, it's not actually closed or resolved yet. So this enables your team to prioritize the new issues, but not lose track of the other ones. You now can rest easy at night as a business owner knowing nothing is falling through the cracks anymore, not like it would do with just email alone.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. My phone, I don't know if you heard that or not.
No.
Okay, good. There's all these noises going off. So one of the things, and what I like that is it's until they're complete, because I know a lot of people listening, a lot of people are like, oh, I need this for this my business. But I know a lot of other people are thinking this. Oh my gosh, I wish this business had this,
Right.
because but it's really not about that. It'd be great if you were to suggest to the business, oh, by the way, you could really use FuseDesk. Go ahead and give them a call. Go to fusedesk.com, learn more about it. Um, but one of the things I remember, and I don't know if you still have this, is you had, if I sent an email with a specific subject line, then it would automate the response.
The automations we have in FuseDesk are so powerful, right? So we have like a dozen plus different triggers that when something happens, do this thing in FuseDesk. And externally, we also have webhooks, since we're talking nerdy here. We deeply integrate with Zapier and so on. So you can like externally and internally automate so much with FuseDesk, right? So what you're sharing is you can look at an inbound email and say like, hey, if it has this word in the email subject line or body or whatever, apply this case tag, apply this tag to the contact record inside of Keep, respond back with this template, transfer it to so-and-so, and like this whole stream of automation. And that's all natively built right into FuseDesk.
Yeah. You know what? And this is the question that I wanted to ask. I've wanted to ask a bunch of questions. I'm not writing them down. But when it comes to the 5 stars, when it comes to the NPS, can I tag those stars? Can I have, let's say I have 10 stars, right? Most people do 5, but I'm just going to do 10. Can I then automate that and say, oh, well, this, yeah. And then
let me share with you how we do this. This is a practice we recommend. So when you rate a case, the way we have it set up in our own FuseDesk app is if it's a 5-star, if it's any rating, we share it on Slack. And when feedback comes in, we share it on Slack. If it's a 5-star rating, we respond back with an email from Jeremy saying, thank you so much. Your feedback's so valuable. I love that. Would you mind sharing that review publicly? And we link them over to the marketplace to leave a public review, right? So we now take a thrilled customer and have them share that with the world, right? When it is 4 or below, it gets flagged as such, transferred over to management. If it's like 3 or below, we send an email back out asking for more information on that and looking to have a personal reach out and so on. Meanwhile, we can tag all this and Keep as well. So everyone leaving that 5-star, we tag and Keep with a tag of, hey, this person was thrilled with how we helped them out. Anybody below, differently, and so on. So yes, you can automate the heck out of all this.
Yeah, and then all the 5-star people, you can like invite them to something and customer. It's because and here's the important thing. So like with the gym, and I always tell this story because I don't know if you have a dog or not, but dog people love their dogs and they love other people that have dogs and they think everybody loves dogs, which is great. But I was going to this gym and the owner had a little poodle or something, not a poodle, a little chihuahua. And so we're at a CrossFit gym, right? And she brings the dog into the gym because everybody loves dogs. But then the dog is doing the boot, scoot, and boogie, right? On the mats.
Yeah.
And so like that would be, but then there's another scenario when there's a dog outside and it's not part of the gym, so you can get a low rating like a 2 or a 3 because someone that doesn't like dogs sees a dog in the parking lot, they think it's part of your gym, but it's not. So that's really when this automation comes in and you could really care about them and love the customer and say, hey, what's really going on here? You're not going to go, hey, why'd you give me a 2? But you could like
well, it gives you some insight, right? Because we record not just the star rating, but also that feedback on the case. So you as a manager pop into that case, you see it, you're like, okay, you now review, they asked this, your team said that, the customer rated it 2 stars and they left feedback. Or maybe they didn't leave feedback. But it's a signal to management and the team, hey, let's look into this and see what's going on, right? Because that's where you uncover, for example, we've all, had team members who maybe just needed some more training or weren't a fit for the role. And you'll see a customer is asking question A and the team member is answering a different question. And you can at least I immediately like feel frustrated on behalf of the customer, like, oh man, like I can see this going off the rails, right? And then you see the customer's like, that's not what I'm asking. And they'll reiterate. And then the agent again is like not answering the question. You're like, oh my gosh, like this should have been caught earlier. This is a opportunity for training. This is an opportunity to course correct. So it lets you sort of shine a light on those corners we might not otherwise see in our business, because now there's full transparency of the full correspondence on the case is visible to the team, visible in your CRM, and so on.
Right. So let me ask you, what are the top 5 or 10 things about FuseDesk that people want to know?
Yeah. So, number one is you're looking at your help desk and messaging platforms out there. We have by far the deepest two-way CRM integration out of any platform out there, right? At best, your big name help desks will sort of maybe do a contact pop of like reaching into your CRM and showing you who the contact is. But to do that deeper integration like we have, being able to run automations, apply tags, do all sorts of stuff in your CRM right from FuseDesk, no one else touches that. We also are deeply integrated within the Keep community. So if like us, you're a big fan of things like Fix Your Funnel, Plus This, Memberium, all these other really great Keep community integrations and add-ons, we natively integrate to these like nobody else does. So if you've got a number you're using in Plus This or Fix Your Funnel, you can two-way SMS text right from FuseDesk on those platforms. So you can have all your automation for your outbound, but when you get the inbound, you can handle it inside of FuseDesk. No one else touches that, right?
Yeah.
Also, Sean, I don't know if you know this. We recently, within the past month, rolled out our native iOS mobile app. So we now enable your team to do that true multi-platform messaging right from their phone. So when someone texts you on your Fix Your Funnel, your Plus This, your Twilio, your WhatsApp, your Instagram DM, whatever, that can now go to your team, you and your team on your phone. You can get back to them on the go, natively in an iOS app.
Yeah. And for the CEO, this is super important because if you're a CEO on the go, then you could be at the airport or wherever and you could still, I mean, we don't want to, we need to figure out those 4 hours a day we're going to sleep. And this helps us get that extra 5th hour in, right?
Well, especially for the smaller business owner, if you really are still hands-on, and, a big thing that I teach and talk about often is how you can, get that freedom you deserve and become a true business owner. But if you're still in that, business owner who's really self-employed, this lets you, as you build your team, train them up. So you can still have those messages come to your phone, but you're now watching that two-way conversation that your team is having. You don't have to be a part of the chat, but you can see what your team is saying and jump in if needed or message your team and help course correct them to take great care of your customers.
Okay, cool. So what would be the best way for us like to get a demo or an example or a sample of FuseDesk?
Yeah, so fusedesk.com, FUSEDESK.com lets you do that. You can also reach out to us. Our number is 415-429-3375, 415-429-3375. For our international folks, that's +1 415-429-3375. You can WhatsApp us, you can text us, you can call us. Again, we dog food everything. So that number comes into us in all the different ways. You can simply say, hey, saw you and shown, how do I get a demo of FuseDesk or get my own app? The way we do our plans is super easy. You don't need to give us a credit card. You can just get a free app, start using FuseDesk in your business. And when you see the tremendous power and value we have for you, then at that time, you can choose to upgrade and convert to a paid app or keep using FuseDesk at the free level as well for your business.
Okay, so let's wrap it up with that. So what you're saying is I can get it for free without having to give up my credit card number?
Correct. We're big believers in, we show you the value, you see it, you love it, and then you say, all right, we want to scale this up with you guys and go.
And this is what I call my pink spoon marketing, which everyone should be doing, is when I go to Baskin Robbins, I get a free little taste of ice cream. I actually eat all 31 flavors because I'm a glutton. No, I already know I'm going to get butter pecan. But the thing is, so we'll go to fusedesk.com. They can sign up for the free version, start getting immediate results, start seeing the benefits of it. And then once our listeners go to FuseDesk, FuseDesk.com, they'll see the true power of this, and then they'll go on to the next level.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for showing up. I know you got to go. So this has been a great call, and we're going to get it out there to all of our more listeners out there in podcast land.
Love
But
it.
again, thank you so much for showing up, and we'll talk to you soon. By the way, Jeremy's going to be demoing FuseDesk in a future automated marketing summit.com. So go to automatedmarketingsummit.com to sign up for that. But before you do that, go to fusedesk.com, get your free app, and then just get with Jeremy afterwards. We know you're going to want to sign up and keep this and grow your business and scale your business with FuseDesk. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Thank you, Sean. This has been super fun. We'll see you at the next Marketing Summit.